it in 16 minutes. Oh, she's turning us down.
Yes, she is.
Are we on?
Yeah, we are on.
Oh, okay.
WRCC, we wasn't ready. 88.3.
So
It's all right, bro. Thank you. Bang, bang. Boogity up,
all right, guys. Stop being ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous. It's awesome.
It's a classic.
Welcome back. I got DJ SB on the ones and twos.
Or for our Spanish-speaking listeners, the unos and doses.
Got Lex across me acting a fool.
Lo siento.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Con queso. All right, I'm gonna stop now.
And you talking about me acting a fool?
My Spanish is amazing.
We wanted to get into something. We're heavy in the swing of, football season.
Oh yeah, we're right in the middle of it.
We're in the middle of it. It's looking all right.
Shout out Redskins.
Shout out the Steelers.
No.
Either
one.
Not shout out the Redskins though, but
we got the dub.
What happened with the Cowboys? They lost to the Redskins, and they was on the roll.
Because they're the Cowboys. They're
Tony Romo got shot.
Whenever something good is supposed to happen, they're not going to do it. But we digress.
Anyway, but the team that people thought were going to be doing all right, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes.
Now they've been in the news recently. They traded Percy Harvin to the New York Chumps, the New York Jets.
Yeah.
They're so whack.
Yep.
And then after that, something kind of bubbled in the media about Russell Wilson, who is their current quarterback, third-year quarterback, of how he's not, quote-unquote, black enough. Now, black enough to do what?
And that came from the locker room.
And that came from, like, their teammates, like the locker room. Like, sources got that from the Seattle Seahawks locker room. But what does that mean? Like, if I can say, like, if he said, man, he's just not black enough, he ain't from the hood, he grew up in the suburbs, like, he's just not where I'm from, then I would understand. I would kind of be like, all right, I understand that.
Yeah, which is still kind of wrong.
It is, of course.
Right.
No, of course. We're not going to downplay that. But black enough for what? Like, where did that statement come from, dog?
Well, actually, Richard Sherman, I believe, shot down the rumors. And I don't know if it's damage control, because when you have such a poignant statement as black enough on your organization, everybody is going to toss the hot potato, toss the buck, and say, we never said that. So it is, in fact, alleged.
Mm-hmm.
However, the potency of that statement,
right?
I believe to me, it's like an automatic weapon. It has no directed target because it's so huge. You can go to articulation, to skin color, to job, to success. It goes down the line. And to put it on someone like Russell Wilson, to me, that it's kind of like a smear tactic.
Right.
It's a smear tactic in the worst sense, because it goes at your ethnicity, your race, but your credibility. And to me, that it hurts. Right?
I mean, it's so offensive on so many levels, right? And saying the term black enough, like, what does that usually come down to? And we started to say some of them. Usually education is a part of it. Success, how you articulate words, how do you speak, your vocabulary, the intonation of your voice, your background. There's so many things, and that all goes to say that there's always some sort of definition, or to our Raven-Symoné conversation, categorizing of what is black and what type of black are you. And that's obviously that's a big issue in America. That's a huge issue within the black community itself. I'm assuming that the players who said he's not black enough, I'm assuming those players are probably black themselves.
One would assume, because you can't say someone's not black enough if you ain't really black.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson are both black.
Yeah,
people who say they're two different types of black.
No, they are two different types of black.
Meaning what?
Come on.
Meaning what?
Marshawn Lynch is like real gritty, real grimy kind of.
Why her voice say yo real?
I saw that. I noticed that.
And
you know what I'm saying? When you see Russell Westbrook,
Russell Wilson.
you know what I'm saying? Like, he's
just want to give him a handshake.
Do you want to give him a handshake? He goes to the white barber shop.
Because of his hair.
Well, his hair is different.
You know what this remind me of?
His hair is different.
This remind me of the Fresh Prince episode.
He got a little cool
when Will took Carlton to the hood and said, "You aren't black enough." I mean, it basically was a shot at where it was obvious to his articulation and to where he came from. We all know the story.
Background.
I ain't gonna sing it, but Carlton came from more of an affluent neighborhood. Will came from Philly, the projects, and not Philly, the projects, a project in Philly. Excuse me, I don't want my Philly people coming to, hey son, what you was saying? Nah.
Well, you scared that the Philly people gonna show up and start throwing oils at you?
Hey, his name is Norlex Bella.
Right.
You know where I'm going to forward those emails.
I was just about to say
it really casts a shadow on our perception, even in the black community. That's where the cesspool has started to really surface, and to say you aren't black enough. I'm not sure if they know where his education is. I'm not sure if they know where his neighborhood is. But if they're coming at his articulation or how he dresses, to me, it places. This is actually one of my poems that said, "We're too comfortable with being uncomfortable."
Meaning?
We've gotten too comfortable with being uncomfortable when we're used to a style so much. When we're used to people calling us a certain way, and then now we have individuals who break out of that. Then we say, "Oh no, you need to come on back. You're not like this. You're not like this." And we've gotten so comfortable with being uncomfortable that we now see it as a place that's comfortable.
Yeah,
and then we call everybody else who gets out, who speaks with a little bit more eloquent. Hey, fam.
Yeah.
So I don't
necessarily think that that's solely.
That's a fact.
Like, I think it's a fact, but I don't think it's like what we call. I think it's an experience thing. I wasn't used to non-urban African Americans until I came to college.
I agree with you.
My experience with African Americans was always, I mean, inner city types. I mean, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Philly, even Trenton, Newark. That's what I was used to. So interacting with people who weren't of that, it was definitely a difference for me in how I spoke to them, how I perceived them, and how they spoke was different as well. I think it's an experience and cultural thing. I just really dislike seeing that we're bringing the fragmentation of our community upon ourselves. That really bothers me.
What if somebody called you? What if somebody said you're not black enough? They said, "Norlex, I've been watching you. I've been watching how you dress. I've been watching what you do.
Brought that up.
Well, you're just not black enough, for me. You're just not black enough."
I'm happy you brought that up because I had somebody, because you've seen my act before. You've seen my stand-up act. I had somebody, a comic, I think he was joking, but comics when they joke, they're still being kind of serious. He was like, "Yeah, no, exactly. You're like one of the whitest black dudes I've ever met." And I was so offended, and I was really sad for him. I was like, "Oh,
you ain't black on him."
Like not even like I'm a black male. That's what I am. How I speak, how I do my act is not because I'm black or not because I'm trying not to be black. That's how I speak in person to begin with. But I think that's what we get to. We get to a point where we're being told what we're supposed to look like, and then when you don't, one and two things will happen. You could be demonized by your own community and then sort of be looked at as so different and an outcast by the outside because you're not fitting into that classic box, like that, how we categorize what a black person is supposed to be.
I saw on our Twitter, shout out Off the Record 883 on Twitter. Two of our tweets came from, this person was like, "The ones that don't consider us black enough are our biggest threats." Right? So just like you were saying that how they tell us the way we should be, and that's what we emanate, that's what we emulate. That is exactly what happens. Like, black people are violent, they're aggressive, they live in ghettos, they act out when they, you know what I'm saying, they're this and the third.
All the stuff that Italians were in the 40s, by the way. Sorry, I had to say that.
Right? They're saying those are the ones that's like, "Yo, cuz, you ain't real. Like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't from the hood. You're not repping the block." Nah, it's because I grew up on the, over here.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's important to understand too. Like, it's kind of like the crabs in the barrel mentality that you were alluding to just a while ago. And then another tweet from our Twitter followers, that we have to be careful when we're defining our blackness in comparison and in contrast to our whiteness.
See, but I hate
instead
that.
of blackness, instead of blackness standing on its own.
Right.
But then blackness is difficult. You want to know why? Because we ourselves have created levels to our
That's exactly
blackness,
what I was saying.
Right?
That's exactly
so you
right.
got the light skin versus the dark skin, and then you got Trey Songz talking about light skinned girls.
You think it stems back to house N-word and field N-word?
I think it goes to how we look at ourselves.
There's always been, that's why I use the term fragmentation. There's always been a separation of blackness. Like there's always been
levels.
There's always been levels. There's been tiers. Like, okay, these type of black people, these type of black people.
Yes.
And I think at one point, to what you're saying with the house N-word and the field N-word, I think that's part of it. I think some of that, obviously, even in that mentality, was internalized by the community itself.
Of course.
And then that was how we started to portray people like, oh, that person, yeah, they're black, but that's a different type of black, or he's not my type of black. But
it's also institutionalized.
Oh, most definitely.
Right? So when you see those little 2020 funny clips of they asked the little black girl who's the prettiest one on the chart, and they picked the white girl,
the white doll,
and then they
stuff.
asked who's the ugliest one, and they picked the dark.
Yeah.
But that's when you read books and they use words like happy, they're using a white child, but when they use words like angry, they're using a black child.
Right.
So we are picking up on the environmental cues. We're picking up on magazines, music videos. There's just so many things that play into this, and how black people define themselves within their own category, and then in contrast to whiteness.
Right. I think that's like you said, that's a very dangerous path to walk on.
Very dangerous.
Because like I always hate, like I'm one of those people. I hate when people say black love. Like, why is black love different than love?
Oh yeah, like an all-black cast in this film. Why?
Yeah,
it's a film.
Yeah, it's a film, but I mean that's even in
Isn't
of
that
itself
taking
a problem.
pride? Because I feel some type of way.
But
maybe it's taking pride. Like I love love, but when I see black, I love black love because I love the union. I'm not excluding or negating anything else or promoting or pushing it. I'm just saying I love black love.
No, I agree.
I love
on
the
that.
union, maybe because it's so. It may be so rare. So to see it so fluid, it warms my heart.
You know what? I get that, but I mean,
I'm speaking from the heart, man.
Right. Oh no, I mean even black love specifically. I use that as a quick example, but I get kind of agitated when anytime something is just standard, it's standard. When it comes into the community, it is now black, whatever that was.
Right.
Like that bothers me, and that was. I don't even agree with Raven Simone in a lot of what she's saying, but those type of feelings make me understand the path that she was on.
Of course, of course.
That frustrates me. Like black love. All right, cool. I love her, but Billy likes Joan. How come that's not white love? I don't.
No,
it has to stand.
It
has to stand. Now, how would you guys contextualize articulation in terms of?
That's a huge part of it.
In terms of, and I'm not even gonna say region, geographically, because you got Southern, you got people that live on East Folk, but how well somebody speaks, and then them separating it. Because I come in the pit, I see folk with heavy accent like me, heavy accent coming in, and then I see folk, they say I come from Mulberry or some other place I'm not well known to, and they speak very proper, and then they just get the tongue lashing.
First time I met you, I had no idea what you were saying. I had no clue. But then there's people like, oh,
translator.
What prep school does she go to? You know what I mean?
Right. But I think there are two parts. There are two answers to that. It's environmental and it's educational.
Keep going.
So I'm from New York, right? Sometimes when I'm at work, I hate when my New York accent comes out. People make fun of me for it. And I make you say coffee.
You say water.
Take the dog to the park.
How do you say H2O? Shut up.
And then you be like water, and then, but then I also read a lot of books. Right. And I also did go to school, so it kind of does play a part, but it also is environmental. If your parents are talking to you a certain way, if the teachers are talking to you,
if the people that you in your body politic, the people that you talk to all the time in your system
are always talking to you in what's the word? Not ebonics. They have a lingo. They have their own thing. Then that's what you're gonna carry with you. It's not until someone tells you that it's not the right way that you function a different way.
Right.
And so I don't know. It's bad to say like being black is not equivalent or doesn't equate to speaking well.
Yeah.
Because that's not where that entirely comes from.
I mean, even we spoke about this off the air, but like when Condoleezza Rice was, in the Bush administration and stuff.
Condoleezza Rice and peace.
Yeah, I remember I remember my older cousin and myself getting in a whole bunch of trouble.
Right.
Because we were driving down Flatbush Avenue with my mom in the car. Condoleezza Rice was talking on the radio, like a news clip on 1010 Wins News or whatever. Shout out 1010 Wins, by the way. And we're driving, and my cousin's like, I don't like Condoleezza Rice. She sounds so white.
Nah.
And my mom went off.
Of course.
And like at that age, I didn't quite understand it. But now being on stage and performing, and you see my act, I don't sound like a Def Jam comic, but you know exactly where I'm from, and you've spoken to me in a non-professional sense.
Right.
And I try to keep it as similar as possible, but something about how a black person speaks has a lot to do with how, like, the image that you have of them and the expectations of them further past that one point.
Y'all just hating because we got twang, you know what I'm saying?
You did what I'm saying.
But think about it. Even when you
start making noise.
What?
You took it up step further.
Even if you think about, let's look at regional dialects. Right? Like, we're from New York, so we say son,
right?
B,
money,
money.
Yeah.
Ayo, ak.
Right.
That's one of my favorite ones. Like, we say stuff like that. But you guys in that terrible area known as the DMV.
You know, you
Bama's.
you loafing, you a Bama.
I mean, you got Philly, you got
you
John.
Jai-like.
Yeah, so but with Philly,
Kirkin.
Philly is what? John, what else? Young Bull, all that.
Chicago, you got Joe.
And in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, you have Neffs.
You got Neffs.
Neffs, Ike, Tizzy,
Vowels,
Homies.
Right, homie.
All that type of stuff. I mean, everywhere has their own thing, but even then, when you meet somebody from another city, you're like, what are y'all doing over there?
Right.
Like, why do y'all talk like that?
Why do you talk like that?
I don't think other communities within America do that when they meet somebody from the other side. There's a huge difference between the northern and southern accent, but I don't think it's as divisive. I don't think it's as John. Does
it go deeper with accents? Because I've never seen anybody, and this is just me, I've never seen anybody get a tongue lashing from coming from New York or DC or Atlanta. But when they say they come for a more affluent neighborhood where it's more white people, and they may just speak in that tone, then they get it. And I say, why does that stick out?
People might feel like they're assimilating.
Right.
So people might feel like they're not. There was a Blackish episode. They're not staying true to their roots. They're not staying true to their culture. But I don't think it's that.
I don't think it's solely that. But like I said, I think it speaks to what the understood Black experience is. If you're outside of that, I think that's where people have a problem with it, or they can start to have an issue. Like you said, a lot of it stems from like the inner city, like very urban environment, or even black communities outside of cities. There's still like a tight knitness.
Yeah.
And if you're from outside of that, you can be looked at as, oh, well, that person's experience is different because they see the world differently. You may think, but their experience coming up through the world in their little system is different than yours. That doesn't make them bad. It just makes their experience different. Chill out.
Well, we all got the head nod down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you see,
it don't matter where you're from. You that head nod.
I mastered that. I remember I asked Alex Lee if Asians do that, and he said yes. And I was like, oh, I thought they bowed, and he didn't like that. All right,
get him.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back here on WRCT 88.3 FM. Off the record.